Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, criminal court, and other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com, as well as on Amazon. And my third book, Raised by These Wolves, Volume 3, will be out at the end of January. And I have a return guest. I'm happy to have Wren Byrd back on. She was last on season 5, episode 213. And we're going to discuss what has been changing and discuss how parents are being treated in the family court arena. So I welcome you back, Wren Byrd. Expand more. Tell me more. What else has been changing?
Hi, Marianne. Thank you
Hi.
so much for having me again. It was actually like seriously just like 1 year ago. And a year ago, I had not seen my son for 6 months.
Mhm.
And now we're a year and a half into it. And I also haven't seen my son for a year and 6 months.
This is terrible. I'm so sorry.
Yes, it's very disturbing. Okay.
Mhm.
So I do want to say that parents are finally speaking out, which has evolved over time.
Mhm.
And you've got your podcast and it gets a lot of views. You're really getting the word out. There are people filing lawsuits, requesting public records, there are whistleblowers. But attention is not stopping the harm. So right now, today, parents are still being financially coerced to see their own children. And protective parents are still losing custody. Judges are still operating behind closed doors. Children are being used as leverage to enforce silence and compliance. Awareness has increased, but accountability has not. That gap is where families are being destroyed. So, what I want to talk about today isn't whether the problem exists, it's why exposure hasn't fixed it.
I agree. I agree. Everyone's speaking out. I notice more parents speaking out, and nothing has changed.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of movements that
Mhm.
are geared towards reforming family court. And one movement, which I have built, is Founding Moms. And we have drafted a bill. We're hoping to get people interested in joining a focus group so that we can perfect this bill because I'm
Mhm.
not perfect. I don't think the first shot that I've done at a bill is legitimately going to make it through the Senate
Mhm.
or the House. But I do believe that the time is now. And if I can get all of the people to come together to work on this bill, make it perfect, then we can push to perhaps get it passed in all 50 states.
Mhm.
So if viewers are interested in joining a focus group and they want to be a part of this, developing this legislation or developing this bill and adapting it to their own state, then they can email me info@foundingmoms.org.
Mhm.
And a few things I want to discuss is, the protective parent is still losing custody. And, we're talking about babies and toddlers. It's gotten to the point where it's reprehensible. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just, there's no words for it. Mothers being separated from their babies. And I don't see how that can possibly be in their best interest.
Right. And I notice CPS is a big problem with that, even when these moms and dads, they're married and they still come in and take this baby, and then they try to coerce the parents to divorce. I notice that being a pattern.
Yeah, I think that the tentacles run very deep with this entire system. I don't think it's just one element that we can fix because CPS is a problem. I fortunately have never had involvement with it, so I can't really speak to that, but I do know others have.
Mhm.
Um, I do know that parents are being forced into supervised visitation, and some parents are being forced to pay thousands of dollars a month to see their children.
Mhm.
And they're having to choose, do they want to see their child or pay their mortgage or and basically it's come down to, for some women, desperation where they're selling their bodies, which
Hmm.
strips their dignity, takes away it's dangerous, it's degrading work just to afford to see their children. And that is not their choice. That is coercion. That there's no oversight of that. There's no caps, there's no audits, there's no relief. And if the price of loving your own child is exploitation, the system is broken.
Or it's functioning the way they want it to,
Yes, yes.
unfortunately.
hmm Um, Parents, the protective parent, the good parent, the good parent, you know,
Hmm.
is oftentimes losing custody to if they report abuse.
Hmm.
So, uh, people have to ask questions, they have to demand records, they have to seek transparency, but that alone doesn't solve anything. It
No.
just it gets you labeled as high conflict. It gets you labeled as the problem. And women, I mean, this is not a male female issue, but I do believe that women are being discriminated against, especially women who've become disabled by the court process in itself. The court process can be so traumatizing that you develop PTSD,
Hmm.
and many women have experienced this. Uh,
Hmm.
a number of women have had to leave the country,
Hmm.
and I'm one of those women that is about to do that.
Hmm.
Because I haven't seen my son in a year and a half, and the only way that I will see him is if I go back through family court. I spent 15 years in family court. It's the last place I want to go, but my son is about to be 16 years old, and I'm not going to get to see him on his birthday because I won't give up my address.
Hmm.
And I'm still living incognito a year and a half later. It's like my whole life has just been completely turned upside down about parents who are withholding children, parents who are stonewalling court orders. Okay. They're being rewarded. They're
Hmm.
being given custody. Family court punishes resistance, not misconduct. So if you're the resistor trying to exercise your rights in family court, you're going to be labeled the problem.
Right. Yep. And you'll be labeled vexatious litigious. Like
Oh,
I've,
yes, absolutely. There are judges who are denying mothers witnesses in their hearings. They're flat out denying their witnesses. And unfortunately, like, I don't know his name, I think his name's Barry Goldstein.
mm,
Um, he's very involved in family court. He's an expert witness, and he was denied the opportunity to appear as a witness as an expert witness for a mother who I know. And it's 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 just not just at all. It's so unjust.
right.
Um, and
Well,
there's no meaningful oversight because your complaints go
mm-mm.
nowhere.
That's a huge problem because I went to court watch and the judge pulled me up into the courtroom. I thought, oh, good, I'm in. And he said that I did not give my name at all. And I said, that's not true, Maryann Petri. And he booted me back out.
Right.
Yeah,
hmm
that's
Yeah,
a,
I mean, I can't tell you how many waiting rooms I've sat in to court watch,
yep.
and no, nobody gets in. Who's overseeing that? Nobody.
Mm-mm.
What's happening with that? Nothing. So basically, I don't want to slam the judges right now because this is slam the gavel.
Well,
I
there
mean,
there are some good judges out there. Like I told you about the really hot one I that really helped me.
so what's happening as is children are being used as leverage,
Hmm.
and they are punishing the parents who won't submit. They're forcing separation to
Hmm.
destroy the parent-child bond. Then they're blaming that parent for the damage. So basically, they have completely alienated me from my son, but it's my fault.
Oh,
You know,
yep.
they have enabled my son being alienated from me after I had sole custody for 10 years. Mhm. So, yeah.
Uh,
Um, Not only that, I mean, they're denying accommodations, boilerplate denial, ADA accommodations.
mhm,
That's a major civil rights violation. And before I'm said and done, Maryann, I hope that I do get justice. I'm afraid it's not going to happen. I'm afraid it won't happen until my son is 18,
mhm,
and maybe even not then. But there's no meaningful oversight.
mm-mm,
And the fact that my son won't see me or talk to me is not because of anything I've done. It's because his father controls access. The court has allowed that control to continue without enforcing its own orders. So, family court has not protected my relationship with my child. It has enabled its erosion and then blamed me for it. That's what the way I would sum it up.
mhm,
This is not about bad parents. This is about power without limits. The system is profiting from prolonged conflict. It is surviving by silencing the very families it claims to protect. And these are issues that I think everyone is aware of. People are becoming more and more aware of them.
mhm.
If you're in the family court system, you're absolutely aware of it. If you're not, you have to find out through word of mouth or through podcasts like yours. People don't realize the magnitude of what's happening. And um,
Until it happens to them.
yeah. Mhm. Cover. I don't think a parent should ever have to choose between paying their rent or seeing their child.
Mhm,
And the agencies that are profiting off of that, I mean, they're complicit as
mhm.
far as I'm concerned. They're complicit. They're a part of it.
And I'm sure they're
They're
getting a
part
kickback.
And this is not just about me and my child.
Mhm,
I'm really advocating for the women with younger children because those those children need their mother. They need their nurturing, primary caregiving parent that they're attached to. By fragmenting that attachment, they're fracturing children. And this is purposeful. This is intentional. Um, so and I'm not here to vilify my ex. I'm here to describe what happens when family court allows obstruction and refuses to correct it.
mhm,
So I know that my son is not seeing me not because of me. He's seeing me because in many of these cases, the children, as they get older, they learn through their cognition. They're cognitively impacted by the parent who is alienating them against the other parent.
mhm,
So they basically align with that parent just to survive the wrath because it's
mhm.
easier that way.
It is.
There's no conflict, if you go with that parent. But what they don't understand and what they will soon understand is that they will soon be the victim. I mean, they already are the victim. They are the true victims. I'm not the victim here. My son is the victim.
Mhm. And he's a victim of child psychological abuse.
No meaningful record for appeal. Sealed dockets are used to erase this pattern. Decisions are made without accountability. This is unchecked power. It
Mhm,
is not judicial discretion. The new bill that I've drafted is addresses this issue in a way that will limit judicial immunity in these family court processes.
mhm.
And I'm not talking about any other court process. I'm talking about family court. I know you do podcasts on other things, but I'm not talking about that. This bill is specifically drafted to address these issues within family court systems around the country. And as I said, um, it can be modified to adapt to each state's specific statutes. Right now, it's drafted for California.
Mhm.
And I do hope to get people to send me an email and join the focus group so that we can perfect this, so we can actually make this happen. Talking about the problem over and over and over and telling your story might give you a little bit of relief, but it's not solving the problem.
Right.
And, you know, um, I think the word is out. I think people are starting to pay attention, especially like Arizona.
Mhm,
I wish California would follow suit, and maybe once we get a new governor, maybe that will happen.
mhm.
By the time we get a new governor, I may be in another country,
Yeah,
quite frankly.
really.
I don't know how much more I can survive here. I am literally just surviving.
Oh.
Uh, it's ruined my life.
Hmm.
All of this is just, I'm not going to sit here and say my life is ruined because obviously I am doing things with purpose now.
Hmm.
And I am trying to make change in the most positive way possible. However, the trauma that is inflicted upon parents that are going through family court, as pros say, is unimaginable. And there's no quick cure for that. We've
Mm-mm.
got to get a bill passed. We've got to get judicial immunity limited. That is very, very important. I don't think that pushing for end judicial immunity is going to happen right now. I think getting our foot in the door with limiting it would be the best proactive stance. Or maybe it's not proactive, maybe it's reactive.
Hmm.
So, um, I'm hoping, that we can get the word out on this bill and get some traction. And there's so many other movements out there that I believe that everyone who it has a movement can take this and run with it.
Huh.
Once we have perfected it, they can take it for their state, they can push it forward and get more people aligned and really try to make this happen. Make this, what they're doing is they inflict trauma upon you.
Hmm.
Okay. Then they characterize it as instability. They're creating it
Right.
and then they're using it against people. Poverty is framed as being unfit, but
Mhm.
they're creating the poverty.
Exactly. They are. People don't understand this.
Yeah, they don't. Since I was on last year, I mean, I've been financially devastated by this.
Mhm.
And I'm only surviving, I'm not thriving. Awareness has increased, but accountability is not. And there's something very important I wanted. This is the Family Law Professionals Field Guide to High Conflict Litigation Dynamics, not Diagnosis. This
Oh.
is endorsed by the ABA. Now, I don't know about that myself, but can the ABA endorse a book? I mean, it's a family law guide, right? So they're
Mhm.
using this to train judges. This is written by Benjamin D. Garber, PhD, Dana Prescott, JD, LMSW, PhD, and Chris Mulchay, PhD. This book, if you read this book, if you're able to get your hands on this book, and it's expensive, it's like 80 or 90 bucks. I got it on Barnes and Noble. If somebody can't afford it and they really want to see what's in it, have them send me an email and I'll give them the link to my Barnes and Noble Nook.
Hmm.
Um, so that it can be shared. Parents need to know what judges are being trained with. This book basically, to sum it up into a few words, because I've read the whole book and I'm reading it, I've read it multiple times and I'm focusing on certain aspects of this book. I'm not going to say it's all bad, but it does go into all of the trauma and what happens to children who are in these unhealthy family systems where you have a narcissist or a person on the dark triad, and they're
Hmm.
winning in court and the good parents losing. Um, and generally it's the mother. They're labeling women as being enmeshed with their children.
Hmm.
They are not seeing women as being protective parents. They're taking these family court cases where abuse has been alleged, abuse could be proven, but you can't have an evidentiary hearing. You can submit your evidence, but it gets shredded or it just sits in a pile. They don't ever address it. How do you get justice when you can't have an evidentiary hearing to prove your case? And you can't afford an attorney, and your opposing party always has an attorney, a high dollar attorney.
Hmm.
I don't know how that happens, but it does. So, in this high conflict litigation book, women are being labeled as being enmeshed with their children. Judges believe it's better to take a child from an enmeshed parent
Hmm.
and give them to an abusive parent. They think they're weighing the scale. They're saying, well, mom's enmeshed, dad's abusive. Enmeshment causes a lot more problems. Let's give them to the dad. But
Hmm.
but the problem is that women are not just enmeshed. We are protective. We love our children to our core. We carried them. They have a piece of us. We have a piece of them inside of us still. And that bond, to destroy that bond is very traumatic for the child, not
Hmm.
only the parent. We really feel it. And the children don't may not feel it right then, but it has long-lasting consequences. These children are being permanently damaged
Hmm.
and traumatized.
Yeah, and I know some good fit dads that this has happened to.
Yes, it has happened to dads as well.
Yeah.
hmm But as far as the high conflict litigation book goes,
Mm. Oh, they teaching
enmeshment.
that? Are they
Mhm.
teaching to take it away from a certain parent?
Systems are, by definition, self-writing constellations of independent relationships. Anything that affects one relationship within a system will necessarily affect the others, as the entire constellation seeks a new balance.
Hmm.
So, what they're saying, and this book came out in 2021
Uh-huh.
when COVID was happening. And if you look at the data, the numbers have really changed
Hmm.
since COVID. And they like to blame everything on COVID.
Mm.
Well, this book came out during COVID, and this book is telling judges,
Mm.
mom's enmeshed, mom's accusing dad of alienation, but she's enmeshed.
Mm.
It's worse for her. It's worse for that child to be with her than it is their father, even if he is abusive.
Mm.
And many of these judges grew up in back in the day when children were, corporal punishment was accepted. Abuse was the norm. Yeah. So basically, this book covers a lot of different topics, and I believe that this I don't know. I do believe that this is being used across the country to train judges. I don't believe it's just in California. Um, and that's a real problem. And I think that these judges' field guides may be impacting everything that's happening and why it's spiraling and why it has spiraled since COVID. Because I think things have gotten a lot worse
Hmm.
since 2020, 2021.
Yeah, I agree. I even noticed a shift even a little bit before that because my attorney, when we were going into the courthouse, she said, "Don't mention any ABUZE." And I'm like, "What's that supposed to mean?"
Wow. Um, so that's why I'm here, and I just kind of wanted to give you an update and mention this book and let everyone know if they're interested in helping develop and perfect this bill. I would love for them to email me at info@foundingmoms.org, and you'll be hearing more about this bill soon, I hope. I'm hoping to push it forward. However, due to my own personal circumstances and because I am living incognito underground, um, I'm not able, I'm only able to do what I can do. And I was just out of the hospital for lupus flare, stress related, and I can
Hmm.
only take so much stress, and it's stressful when a mother loses her child. I mean, I feel like my child is gone. I
Well,
know
hey,
he's
it
still
gave
there.
me a heart attack.
Yeah, it it did me too, but it was a while ago.
I think they purposely do this. I think it's in their playbook.
Yeah. Um, right. I mean, it is a playbook. It's right
Mm,
there. That's the
right
playbook
there. That's
right there. Family Law Professionals Field Guide. So, if what they're putting in their brains is bad, what are they going to get out? They're going to get bad. I mean, they're feeding, and this is endorsed by the ABA. So I'm hoping to potentially get a group of people together to challenge this book, to challenge the ABA's endorsement of this book, because I don't think this is telling the story correctly. And judges are using it to make decisions.
with
And
people's
if you think
lives.
about it, it would make sense as to why there's been a shift if judges are being trained with this m modality.
Hmm.
It would make sense that they would think, give the child to the parent, the other parent,
Hmm.
not the protective parent,
Yeah,
because
that
the protective parent is enmeshed.
right. That's just so wrong. Well, the, these judges were lawyers that turned into judges because they could not get into major law firms. So they started out in the DA's department, and then when they realized they couldn't make it into these major law firms, they became judges.
Yeah. So my judge, who is retired, he labeled me vexatious, and then he happily retired.
Well, the thing is, I complained on the one judge 3 times, and the fourth one got through and
Unfortunately.
off the bench. Sometimes there's a happy ending.
Yeah.
It will be. It's because you didn't get any justice in the courtroom, and your child was taken away from you, and have these false narratives, shared
Mhm.
persecutory delusions shoved into their minds, and they were turned against you through no fault of your own.
Absolutely. Um, and the bias is beyond comprehension.
Right.
The bias that my judge at least. And you know what's happening is when these judges are outed or when they are discovered as being biased, acting in ways that are malicious even,
Hmm.
they are immune. Okay, a judge can make malicious decisions, but he's still immune. This is written. This is it. This is what's in black and white. Even malicious acts are immune. That's a problem.
That
Okay.
is, yes, I agree with you there. Because doctors have to have malpractice insurance, nurses have to have malpractice insurance, but yet these judges, they're just off scot-free with families they
And
destroy.
right. So at what point did the higher level or the elites or whoever makes all the rules that we are operating under, at what point did they decide family court judges know what's best for the family? They don't have any special training. If this is their training, this is a joke.
Then, yeah, heaven help us. And the thing is, I had heard that New Hampshire has a House Bill 652 to dissolve family court, but people wonder
Wow.
where that's going to go. But I think that could be a step in the right direction.
See, I'm not shooting for the moon. I
Uh,
mean, they're shooting for the moon there. And I'm just shooting for a star right now
right.
with my bill. But that bill, I mean, if that bill gets passed, that would be amazing. That would be definitely something everyone would want to pass in their own state if that can happen. I think that's a bit, um, I think that's asking a bit much to go from complete and total immunity to ending family court, but
They'll
I
probably
support it.
they'll probably still have their immunity though, right? I mean, they may dissolve it, but all these people still play in the same sandbox. So my thought, along with that House bill, I don't know if it's included or not, but rotate those judges, get them out of the city and move them to another city. Just keep moving people around every 6 months or a year. Every year, move people around so they're not playing in the same sandbox. It'll be like as if they lived in the military. You know how military families move every 3 years or whatever? We've got to get these judges completely rotated and out of the sandbox.
I don't know that they would go for that because
Well,
how would they it would
well
that's a
then,
pretty far reach, but I like the idea. I think
right,
it's a
because
great
they're all
idea.
having Christmas parties, they're golfing, they're having a great time at our expense.
Oh, my judge has a band.
Oh, that's
That
right.
he is the lead singer in the band called Court and Disaster, and his bandmates, or his, what do you want to call them, playmates?
Yeah.
His bandmates are attorneys, court staff, clerks.
That's
They're
disgusting.
all playing this band called Court and Disaster. And if that doesn't spell out bias, I don't know. What's happening is judges get discovered and then they retire.
Hmm.
And then they go into private judging.
Right. Or they get pulled into retirement, but then they pull them out of retirement to work on a case.
Yes, a specific case. And I know several women that's happened to. And I don't understand how our society could allow this. It's it's completely and totally inappropriate. Why does one judge need to be over one family, one person making these decisions even after they retire? And, I'm not the only person. I mean, there's so many women that have been discriminated against, like, with their disability and with my
Hmm.
vision. And um, I know a lot of women who are from other countries that have immigrated here and they are citizens now. They're discriminated against in family court. And especially if they have an accent or they don't speak perfect English, right then, right there.
I've seen
There,
it. I have seen it. The judge gets irritated because you have a pro se from another country who immigrated legally here,
yeah,
and it's annoying the judge.
it is annoying the judge.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah.
bad enough the judge told me he was annoyed with me, and I'm here, from here. And imagine if you have an accent and you're trying to understand the laws and they don't care.
Yeah. So I do want to just reiterate, we are talking about family court. We're not talking generally about other courts, and I have reasons for saying that.
Hmm.
Um, but
Oh, I know. I know your reasons well. We've been friends for so long, it seems,
yeah, we have.
and it's just
And
so sad.
I know it's so sad because I remember meeting you, and when I met you the first time, um, I still had contact with my son.
Right.
And it wasn't until quite some time later that I said, Maryann, I need to go on your podcast.
Hmm.
Um, and you told me that what had happened with your own children, and I thought that could never happen to me, and it has. I didn't think it could happen to me. I thought my relationship with my son was so solid that there's
Mm.
nothing his father could do to break it, and he's broken it now. He's probably got Stockholm syndrome, I'm not laughing about this, but I will tell you that you have to laugh. You have to find the humor in these incidents because
Right.
if you don't laugh, you're crying.
Right, Ren, because I know I have developed a dark sense of humor. It's bad enough I have a Welsh sense of humor, but now, because of family court, I have this dark sense of humor.
Yeah,
Like, who would
yeah.
have ever thought? Who would have ever thought the oldest would have left my home where this young person had their own bathroom? They didn't have to fight for five people to get into a bathroom in the morning. Good luck with that. Never thought that would happen.
I'm serious. I seriously think this generation is going to have major, major problems because
Hmm.
of what's been happening in family court.
Yes.
And the realities of that will not be evident for years, maybe.
Well, it's creating personality disorders in these
Oh,
kids.
yeah. I can tell you, I have a nephew this happened to him when he was about, geez, 7 or 8. CPS got involved.
Uh,
And I want to have him on your podcast. I do. He wants to come on. He is a a testament to what it does to a child who's
Mhm.
been separated from their parent. So,
And CPS is good at that. They should be also dissolved.
yeah, I don't think that we need CPS in the
No.
form that it exists today. I think
Hmm.
it needs major, major reform or dissolution and being rebuilt in another way. Don't call it that. Or
Or just
I
call
don't
the
know.
police.
Yeah, I don't know all the answers. I don't think anyone does. And a lot of the women that we work with, that we're involved with, um, that are in all these different movements, there's so much conflict amongst the movements that it's it's interfering with the progress.
Right.
And I think it's very sad. And because of that, I've started this focus group, and I just really want to invite all movements to join it and help draft this bill.
Hmm.
And this bill may not be the answer. Maybe what's happening in New Hampshire, maybe that's the answer. Maybe something's happening in Arizona. Maybe that's going to be the answer.
Right.
I, I don't know what the answers are, but I know that we have to do something. We have to act.
Hmm.
And talking about it is not action.
Right.
We
Right.
can talk about it all day long, but we've
Right.
got to do something.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because with this custodial interference, and I've said this, I don't know how many times, but these penal codes have been in each state's, existence for the last, we'll say, 30 to 40 years. It's a felony kidnapping. I'm not an attorney. I can't give any legal advice because there's no such thing as good legal advice. But no one's enforcing, even if you go to the state police with your court order saying, it's my time to have Johnny, and they're saying, well, this is a civil matter. Then they get on the phone and they call the DA on call who says, oh, they have to go through family court for that when they should be following the law.
Oh, that's a part of that is a massive problem right there. Uh, that has become the go-to.
It is.
Police officers are not investigating anything if you're in family court. If you're in family court should resolve all of your problem.
Okay, well, the thing is, these officers need to be trained in this. They don't,
I don't know if it's that they need to be trained or that they need that. I don't know if it's training. I think it's systemic. I think it's a systemic. Um,
inherited thing within the
I
police
don't know if it's
departments.
inherited. I feel like it is a part of the way they're programmed. Or I
Well,
can't
they've
think of
been
the word. I have it
indoctrinated
written
to
down.
say this is a
Yes,
civil matter. Okay,
they're
so
indoctrinated.
they need education while they're in the police academy that they need. Okay, because I'm only telling you this because I had to write an affidavit and I had to take it to the police department. And this really hot police officer sat down with me and he looked at it. He said, but this is hearsay. And I said, no, this is not hearsay. This is me writing an affidavit telling you what happened. It's coming from me. If it came from me saying that Lois, three doors down, told me this, and I put it in an affidavit, then that's hearsay. So
An
I
affidavit,
educated someone nicely,
good
nicely.
for you. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to educate the entire police department in Sonoma County, or the city police department in Sonoma County, or the court administration in Sonoma County, or the DA's office in Sonoma County. I
Hmm.
don't have the bandwidth to educate, quite honestly. The fact that I survived 15 years in family court is miraculous. God is with me. I can tell you that. You
Hmm.
never know what he has planned. You never know what's around the corner. And no matter how low you go, if you keep the faith,
Hmm.
you will persevere. I do believe that I don't want to say everything happens for a reason because it's so cliche,
Hmm.
but a lot of people cannot believe that I'm still standing. Um,
Hmm.
I've been through so much, and it and I had with the DA's office where they told me that that revenge porn wasn't a crime, basically. How all these women are being arrested for taking their children and fleeing any type of stuff.
Hmm.
Let's just call it stuff.
Hmm.
And my ex-husband did the exact same thing, yet there's no action being taken.
See, there's just no enforcement or it's rigged or it's rigged.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah, and these kids are
it's
suffering and they're
exhausting.
paying for it. Yes, it's exhausting. And I remember many a day and night where I was up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, finishing off a brief, trying to get everything, the reproduced record, off to the Superior Court, only to fail. But I kept coming back. And I
Yeah.
think they just passed when I had won the child support 406 WDA 2017. I think, I really think these judges must have been partying because my brief was, I don't know, it wasn't in order and my reproduced record was not complete because, after every paragraph, you have to write a number as to where that page can be found on that brief to compare it to the
Uh-huh.
reproduced record. I didn't have time for that. I had no time. And the lady at the print shop gave me such a hard time. You're under all the stress, and then you've got other influences, more personality disorders causing you more grief when you're trying to get something done. Where she threw the paperwork at me. Now it's really out of order. So,
Uh,
yeah.
I want to play something because what you just said triggered me.
Oh no.
Jesus is a fire. Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I'm fighting for my life. And then the smoke got me. I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I love that. And that's what we're dealing with in family court.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on, Maryann. And please tell your viewers to email me at info@Founding Moms. And especially if they're interested in joining the focus group, drafting this bill, pushing it forward in their own states so that we can get something going. And if they have a better idea, I implore them, I invite them, fix it. Fix the bill I've drafted. Make it better.
Hmm.
Make their own bill. Let's do something. Let's take action instead of just talking about it. Let's do something.
Definitely.
Let's do something that's reasonable.
Right.
We, I mean, they do say shoot for the moon and you might get the stars. I don't think that's the way to go about this. I think we need to shoot for a star and get our foot in the door, and then we can maybe shoot for the moon.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, I mean, I'd like to have you back on for an update whenever you're ready, Ren. So I
In
thank
a
you
year.
again. I thank you again, Wren Byrd. Don't jump off. Slam the Gavels, a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I'm your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, and other platforms I don't know about. Again, feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. Again, thank you, Wren Byrd, for educating all of us.
Thank you, Marianne.